Not much. Not much. I mean, there's a lot going on in life. So right now at this moment, not a whole.
Dude, it's strange, like the waiting room for these things. That's why I kind of like push and record right away and not say too much to you because we're about to have this conversation, and I always find it weird that's like if we hang out without push and record, it's like we're having the same conversation over and over again. Then it doesn't seem like genuine to me, so I like to do it all at
That's
once,
kind
like right
of.
now.
I think that's kind of why, like leading up to it, I was like, I'm not going to give him as much information as I probably need to, just for the the wow
Yeah.
factor of everything that kind of has already been going on in my life.
Well, you get it then, because a lot of times I have these guests on, and before the record button's even pushed, they just like tell me all this information. I'm like, oh, perfect. So now it's not going to be like a real expression on my face, dude. Like that
What are
surprise.
we going to talk
Yeah,
about?
dude, I get nervous when everyone starts spilling the beans and stuff. So thanks for not doing that.
I did my best.
So, dude, we met. I was trying to remember. Was it Woods Creek or did you go to West Elementary?
No, I went to Indian Prairie and then I went to
Okay.
Woods Creek.
You
So
okay?
it was definitely Woods Creek.
Woods Creek, yeah, yeah. And we played a lot of Little League together.
Yeah.
Is that how we met, you think, or was it like passing in school?
I've tried to think about this before because I feel like we probably became better friends. I want to say it was like fifth grade.
Yeah, I think so too.
I
Yeah.
think we knew each other in like fourth grade, but I think because I think you had the same. I think we had the same teacher in fifth grade, but my memory is even worse now these days.
It's
So
so strange, man. Like, I was bringing this up on another podcast. Like, some people hold a certain key to a file in your brain, and it's like you
oh
can't access that. Like, someone else has the key to open that.
yeah, it's crazy. Like it's yeah, it's just like certain memories that I told you about previously. That like those like little like those moments I remember like
Yeah.
very like clear, and I'm like, why do I remember that one thing, but I could probably not remember 98% of other things that have happened in fifth grade,
Yeah, you
except
were
for
you
that.
were telling me about the Michael Jordan cologne, and I know exactly like the cologne that I had, but I don't remember giving it to you.
So, so I think what it was there was they came with like a big bottle of it with
Yeah.
one of MJ. I think it's like the sole of his shoe was like the bottom of the
Yeah, dude, it
bottle,
was. Yeah.
and then there was like another smaller one.
Uh
And I remember us being both obsessed with just how good it smelled.
huh.
And you're like, well, I have this big one, like you can have this little one. And then I remember like showing it to my mom when I got home, like, look what Jay gave me, and she was like, And then I'm pretty sure very shortly after that, your mom ended up calling my mom, and she was just like, "Yeah, you have to give that back."
Yeah, that
I'm
sounds
like, all
typical
right.
of my mom. Yeah, any mom really, right? Like, no,
Yeah, my
no.
mom would have done the same.
Yeah,
She was like, that wasn't yours to give away."
that's kids though, man. Like, it's hilarious because I have a 5-year-old now, and he wants to give his friends everything, like all these Pokemon cards. He wants to give them like currency, like money. I'm like, dude, what are you
You can't
doing,
have yours
man?
for people. He'll have his own YouTube channel soon.
No kidding, man. Yeah, they're obsessed with watching YouTube and anything electronical. It's
Oh
so
yeah.
weird. Do you have like you don't have any kids that you know of?
No, I have good. I mean, obviously now like a lot of my friends all have like toddlers and kids who are like even like getting older and kind of grown up like into elementary and middle school, and it's crazy now because like I've seen the shift in people like who like we went to high school with, or like everyone like is getting married and having kids, and you're just like, oh well, I'm not doing that.
Do you want to do that eventually? Is that like one of the goals
Yeah,
or no?
yeah, I think so. Like I've been in relationships in the past, and like they've lasted, years, and it just never ended up working out with whoever I was with at the time. And I think, I think all those along this journey, I think I've learned lessons from all those things, and
Mm-hmm.
you kind of like I think over time just you figure out more like everything in life has a silver lining, and everything you can learn from every experience that you have. So I think like going through all these, and like my last ex, like I'm still really good friends with her, and she
Yeah.
passed on from a previous marriage. So like it's like I still get to see him all the time. It's pretty.
Yeah. The journey, man, the journey. But you can't get too caught up on that journey when we're talking about finding someone to settle down with because I mean time does go by pretty fast and obviously you're learning from all the mistakes that we make, but it's like at one point you kind of just have to like dive in and be like, all right, I'm gonna try. I don't know what the future holds, but like analytically speaking, like this one should be the one. I fucked up so many times, and I know what I like now, so this one should check out. Let's dive in.
I didn't do very well in statistics, but
neither did I, dude.
you do know that probabilities and stuff. Someone should be coming along pretty soon.
We'll have a podcast about that next time, man. Hopefully it's soon, not in a couple years. Dude, so there's this moment that's like a void in my mind, and it has to do with a birthday party that you had, and I think.
Oh no! I already know where this is going. I know.
Do
exactly. Sleepover.
Yeah, dude. So yeah, man, it's just like a void in my mind. So I don't know what birthday it was. It was like 10, maybe around that age or something.
It was fifth grade.
It was fifth grade, right? I was it was fifth grade.
It was probably my 11th. I would assume.
Yeah, somewhere around there. And like, dude, there was just like all this rumor going around that there was like this huge event in your basement, like 6 p.m. or something, or sometime at night. I don't know. And I fell asleep, dude. I didn't make it. I passed out on your couch, and I never went down into the basement to see what happened. So there's like this emptiness. Everyone else went down there, but I was such a bitch. I fell asleep, man.
Here's the thing, okay?
Please.
I kind of remember who was all at that birthday party, but like you fell asleep, but also I fell asleep.
Dude, I didn't know that.
There have been like 10 to 12 kids there.
Yeah.
And I remember like only I think you, me, and one of my other friends, Mike, like fell asleep.
There's no way.
And I remember everyone else was like awake. Nobody else went to sleep the entire. And I don't even know like how. Like I remember my sister was still living in the house, and she was supposed to like work the next day, and she's like, all his stupid friends kept me up all night. And she's like, I didn't get any sleep, so she called into work. Like it was. All I remember is my mom telling me, she's like, never again. Never again.
Those little rats.
I went to sleep though. I'm like, I didn't ruin it for her.
Same here, man. I slept too. I was a good kid.
I think I got it. I wonder if I could go back and remember everyone who was at that.
I just remember Craig Tomaszewski was there because I was hanging out with him for a little bit. Yeah.
I think like Joe Ryan.
Probably. I was friends with him. Yeah.
He came late because he had hockey, I think.
Ah, okay. That would make sense.
Like Matt Luger and like Dan Grossnickel, like all those people. I think all those people were
ringing some bells.
There were a lot of people.
But then there's a pocket of like 8 people that are missing, and I would love to know who it was, dude.
Pocket of people missing. I feel like Tony Battaglia was there.
I'll have to ask him. He'll remember.
I feel like because him and I had like a rivalry in baseball for a really long time.
Yeah.
Like a very friendly rivalry, but.
Dude, it was your birthday party. How don't you remember? I'm just kidding. Like, who remembers their 10th birthday, man? I don't know.
I mean, I just celebrated 35 like a month and a half ago. I don't remember anything about that.
Holy shit! Happy birthday, dude! Happy belated birthday.
Well, I mean, there's a reason for that, but we'll get into that later.
We'll get into that later. Yeah. So you can't tell me what happened in the basement? Like it's still gonna be a void to me?
It's still gonna be a void.
See, this is kind of disappointing, man.
I don't know what they did. I don't know what they did in the basement. And honestly, I'd be afraid to know what they did in the basement because it probably wouldn't go over in today's culture very well. If I had to guess.
Dude, that's for certain. That's all I can think. Why were we so tired? Was there like a reason?
I honestly have no idea. I think for the most part, like I didn't have a lot of sleepovers to begin with, so like I never really experienced like staying up all night, and also like I've always kind of needed my sleep.
Same.
So it's like it's really tough for me to like stay awake, and I've gone to I went to a bunch of sleepovers later, and like even into high school when I like stayed places and I had friends who wanted to stay up all night. I'm like, I'm not staying up all night. I'm going to sleep. I'm tired.
That's the one thing that kills me the most, man. Like, even worse than hangovers. And I don't really drink anymore, but when I did, like, hangovers were so bad. But not sleeping enough, that was my Achilles tendon, man. Because if I didn't sleep enough, then I would be looking for, like, Xanax or drugs or alcohol to, like, cope with how shitty I felt. Like, it's so bad.
Oh yeah, I'm the same way. If I don't get enough sleep, I feel like I'm hungover or something. Like,
Yeah.
It's the worst. And like I don't really drink anymore either. So I mean I pretty much stick to the recreational marijuana.
Yeah. How long ago? Well, do you have, like, a couple beers every now and again, or did you completely stop?
I have like up until this past week, I probably maybe had like maybe like a couple or like one or two a week or like,
Okay.
even before, but even so, probably not even that. I might go out with someone and like get dinner, and I would have like one drink.
Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, like now it's not like that. I don't really mess around with it.
Dude, the hangovers. The hangovers hit so different. I think I stopped drinking at 26, but I went so fucking hard from like 14 to 26, like hard. And I think I did enough drinking for like an entire generation to come in my family. So, I mean, I'll have like 2 beers a year, maybe.
I think I overindulged myself this past years, like a little bit too much. Like, and when I say too much, I mean I had like I might have had like 4 or 5 beers, and I was like, oh man, I get some champagne, and like I woke up the next day and I felt like I had just drank an entire bottle of Jaeger or something, like from college.
Do you get like crippling anxiety?
Not really.
What do
I get like I can only just like sleep or like lay there. I can't move around or do anything, and I don't get hungry, and I'm just like dead to the world.
You're
Like,
just like passing time for it to like exit your system so you can do something.
It's always around 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Oh, you got
There's a
it.
time. For me, there's a time. It's like
Holy shit, man.
every single time. Like I could be so hungover, and it'll last all day until like 4 o'clock.
Like, all right, 3:40, 20 more minutes. All right, we got this.
And it just goes away. I get hungry. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm back to normal.
Dude, how was your high school experience?
So I think I told you it was really like when I listened to your podcast about like your experience in high school, I was so shocked.
What shocked you?
Like I had an idea that it was like stuff like that was going on, but like I never knew to that extent. I was like, my high school experience was nothing like that.
Yeah, it's so wild, man. Like, everyone just keeps it inside, like their high school experience, and we all kind of think it's like just a normal one, but it's probably not the case for most people.
Yeah, I think like I just my memory is not good, so like I could some of these things I like could probably. I mean, obviously I feel them, and maybe they're not exactly what happened, but I just remember a lot of people making fun of me a lot.
Do you know what for?
No, it was always something stupid. It was like some people would call me names. I'm not gonna name anyone out because
Yeah.
But like, I mean, for a while, like people that like I was kind of like friends with, or I thought I was like would call me like trash or garbage, and like
Oh, Jesus.
I know it was like really like a lot of those things. Like at the time, like I just kind of laughed them off.
To your face, or like behind your back, and then you'd hear it from like a third party?
To my face.
Oh, Jesus, man.
Kids in high school are bold, man. They don't.
No shit. Good God.
So like, yeah, like I remember being called like all these different names and stuff, and I'm like, man, I just kind of, I guess like repressed it or something, because like years later, someone was like, well, what was your, like, asked me kind of the same thing, and I go, honestly, I don't really remember a lot of high school. I'm like, I remember baseball a lot. Like, I remember playing sports.
Yeah, but that's like, what, 3 months out of the year?
Yeah, and like, I was playing baseball, and that was like, you know, like the winter of like, you go before school, and
Yeah.
just, all you do is just play catch in the gym and then run.
So, dude, if you missed through it, they would used to make you do push-ups.
Yeah,
That's not okay.
like so there were just so many things about like the playing high school baseball like that always to me I just kind of like look back at it I'm like that was so funny.
What how many years did you play of high school baseball?
I played every year. I played freshman,
Oh, you
sophomore.
played up to senior?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I played like this is where I don't really remember like when I transitioned from playing third base to like strictly pitching because like I remember pitching like my freshman year but I also remember playing third base a lot and then I think like I just kind of started just pretty much primarily pitching like sophomore and into varsity. I remember playing like the doubleheaders on Saturdays. I would always play like third base on the B squad.
Same here. Yeah, B squad.
Freshman
Freshman B squad, dude.
Well, the thing is, like, once you start getting older, like, because I played travel baseball, like, pretty much after Little League. And honestly, the older you get, the worse I think third base becomes. Because, like, I remember playing on a travel team when I was, like, 14, and there was a kid up to bat who was, the dude, was probably 35 years old at the time.
Yeah, dude, just, like, 220, like, 6'6".
He looked like Aaron Judge. I'm just, like, playing third base, and I remember, my coaches being, like, telling me to move in.
And you weren't built back then. Like we were like kids. Like we were the same pretty much. We were like a fucking kid.
Yeah, I was still like I mean, it's 14-year-old me. So like
yeah,
I'm not as fat as I am now, but like I'm a little pudgy, but like I'm probably like 5'5" maybe. I'm not very like tall.
Yeah, put Will at third.
Like and I always ask them like I'm like why third? They're like you have like one of the strongest arms on the team. And I'm like, I don't think that's true. But all I remember is them telling me to like move up on this. Literally, this kid looks like Aaron Judge, and I'm like creeping in like inches because I'm like, this guy's gonna
just murder.
Smoke one down this line.
Zero time to react.
2 pitches later, he hit one so hard, and I tried to backhand it, and the coaches were like, get in front of the ball.
Oh, fuck off!
Fuck you!
You get in front of the ball, bitch.
I don't care if you're a 40-year-old man. Like, you see that ball coming at you. There's no way you're.
This is child abuse, bitch.
You are. So, like, it was such a like all the travel stuff was like such an experience, and like I got pretty. I would say I didn't have like the greatest of coaches when I played a lot of like I didn't have the greatest of coaches, even though my dad did coach my baseball team. I think until I was 12, but. Like when I was playing in American Little League.
That's right.
And, yeah, like that was fun, but then I think I ended up just playing Babe Ruth.
Yeah, the funnest for me was the Maine Beach games. That league, that was like,
dude, I love that field.
So do I, man. That's a magical field.
Anytime I think back to like playing like Little League, that is the first baseball field that I think of.
Right on a lake. Like the background is on a lake and it's got this like MLB like scoreboard, right? Wasn't there a scoreboard back there?
Yeah, they had an electronic scoreboard. It was It's a sick little field.
Yeah, that's where my memories go, man, is that and Babe Ruth. I didn't have any good coaches. My best coach was Nick Albert's dad. And like, when were you, like,
wait, what team was? Wait, were you on the?
I was on the Cubs, dude.
That's okay. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
I was like, I do. Well, I remember you saying you talking about Nick Bambini.
Okay, yeah, Nick Bambini. That was, so my dad was the coach for that, and that's when we were like 6, 7, 8 years old. Around then, that was really little. Yeah, but we were playing really good back then, and then like the Maine Beach season hit, and that's when I fell in love with baseball. And then I fell out of love with baseball when high school came around, and the coaches, I just like, they wouldn't play me, man. I was too scrawny. There's no way that I was gonna like get a fair chance. I never did.
Like that freshman team, there were so many people on that freshman team though.
Yeah, it was like 26
like
or something.
Like, there's so many people. So it's like The thing about what was funny is like you said when you played Nick Bambini, and I was like saying in my head, I'm like, I played with Nick Bambini
Did
many years later when we were like when I was like 19.
oh
I switched from playing Babe Ruth to I went and played in Lake in the Hills.
oh yeah, I played that league for 1 year. Yeah.
I played there from I think I played 2 seasons there. I played when I was 19. I think right after high school, so maybe 18 and 19, because I quit the year that I wasn't going to be allowed to pitch anymore because that's all I wanted to do. I
Yeah.
didn't really want to do anything else.
Were those like the funnest times of your life, would you say? Or when's the best times of your life? Like the golden era for you?
Oh, man. Yeah, playing baseball for sure. Like I didn't think after when I got older and like I stopped playing altogether that I would miss it as much as I do now.
Yeah.
Because it was just like having like in Little League having the slurve that I had, like and no other kid could throw.
Nasty.
Like,
It was stupid.
Like
It was stupid. Oh, Will's pitching. I'm not going up to bat. Go fuck yourself.
I remember the 1 year I did play in Babe Ruth, I think I was 15. And I remember playing against Dave Kearley's team, and he's like, we've been practicing hitting curveballs all week. And I'm like, all I'm gonna do is throw curveballs. So,
No
like,
shit. Good luck.
and I remember one time freshman year pitching batting practice, and I remember Danny Snyder being up there, and I kept telling him exactly what I was gonna throw, and he still couldn't hit it. And that's when my confidence boosted like so much. Was like when I could tell people that I was throwing it and they still couldn't hit it.
Yeah, that's such a gangster thing to do, man. You're fucking telling them what you're gonna throw, and then they miss it. Danny probably went to go flip a bus after that. He was probably livid.
I think we were all laughing about it because it was. I mean, it was funny, and I think like looking back at it, I think that was the time in like Little League that I knew that I was probably pretty good. Was,
Yeah.
like, when I could throw that, because I could throw it at kids, and it would just curve back into the strike zone.
I acquired that pitch from you, I believe. I believe you showed me how to do that, and I fucking spent so much time, and I learned how to master that thing too. Like it wasn't a curveball, it was a slurve, and who else throws a slurve? It was you.
Yeah, I didn't ever throw that like 12-6. And
Never.
to be honest, I could never throw the 12-6 because I couldn't turn my hand the way that you need to throw it. And I've tried to teach a bunch of people how to throw that slurve, and I know I've seen you throw it before,
Yeah.
and I think I've seen maybe one other person that I've taught to throw it like decently well, where I'm like, okay, I'm like they're on my level.
Dude, it's
But,
fucking
like, other people,
lethal.
It just spins like a frisbee.
Then it goes over the fence.
Yeah. So like playing in Lake in the Hills though that was a lot of fun playing with like Bambini, and I think Mark Vargas was on our team.
Oh
It
yeah.
was it was it was like it was a lot. I had a lot of fun in that league because a lot of the people that played in it weren't really that good, and there weren't too many. And I came in halfway through the season because like the pitcher that they had on their team. I don't know the full story, but from what I heard, he got drunk and told one of like the presidents of the league to like fuck off. So,
Wait, what?
He was like 18 or 19.
Okay.
He was still drunk, and like that's what I heard. So I don't know if that's 100% true, but like because I signed up late, I got put on a waiting list, and then they called me and they're like, "You pitched in high school, right?" Like, well, and then I remember getting there like the first day to their practice, and they're just like, "Well, you're taking over like the best pitcher in the league." And
Sure, why not?
I just like when it came to pitching, especially in leagues like that, I was so like I wouldn't say cocky, but I was very confident.
You're dominant. You know what you
Like,
have.
I throw hard enough, and like the slurve, like kids don't know like is he gonna throw something hard or is he gonna throw this stupid slurve that I'm gonna have to try and figure out how to hit.
Did you feel when you were on the pitcher's mound like that was a home away from home? Kind of like everything went away.
Yeah.
Like it just
100%.
became silent. You were just like there. It was just like it was like a weird paradise, man.
It's it like there I've
You
tried to
control
explain
the
it, like,
situation.
There is no better feeling than like striking a kid out
Yeah.
and just like and like throwing the slurve and buckling people's knees and making
Oh,
them back off
dude.
the plate and then it being called for a strike. Like the the high that I get from that, like, will never. I don't think I'll ever be able to top that ever again.
And you just don't even react. You're just like, you get the ball back and you're ready for the next one because you know your shit's so fucking lethal.
Oh,
People are just looking at you like, what?
My slur was on, man. It was
Yeah, dude.
different. I remember my sophomore year we were playing against Grace Lake. This was in high school, and I remember I only threw 3 pitches to the kid, and they were all slurs. I remember throwing one at him. His knees buckled so hard, and I remember the third base coach saying, "You just got to stay in there.
Okay.
Stay in there."
Yeah, easier
So the
said
second
than
pitch,
done.
He buckles again. And I remember the third base coach, he goes, "He's going to throw it again. Just stay in the box." And the same pitch, and he buckled again, and I struck him out. And
Doesn't matter.
I remember walking back to the dugout laughing.
Doesn't
I
matter.
know, like, this kid's going to have to run so much. That poor kid.
When was the last time you played baseball?
Oh, probably. I mean, it's probably been. I think maybe I want to say like 12 years ago.
Oh, Jesus,
I mean, like,
man.
I'll throw like in an actual game, like pitching to people, probably like 12 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I still will throw a baseball around here and there with like friends and stuff, but
It's a long time.
a very long time. I also I mean, my health isn't the greatest, so
Yeah.
it's hard to think about. It's hard to think about. Every time I think about trying to get back into it, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna start throwing and like lifting a little bit, like
Mhm.
trying to get my muscles back. Like something always happens where it like sidelines me,
Oh, that sucks.
and I'm just like, I'll get back to it eventually.
Yeah. So outside of baseball for high school, what was like your favorite moment, if any?
I off campus PE. Outside of high school. I was still back in high school. I was thinking besides baseball.
Just didn't have a good
Outside of
experience, or
baseball?
what? Like it was like from freshman to senior year was just like blah.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, like chased around girls that like.
Yeah,
I mean, it just.
that was fun.
It was, yeah, it was. It was all right. I look back at it, I'm like, what an idiot.
It's so, man, high schools, if you
You gotta
actually
learn
like,
though. That's.
if you step back and look at what a high school is, man, you have kids that are like 14 to 18 years old. Like that is prime time for hormones of all levels, man. You have like fucking kids that should be playing in the NFL, and you have kids that should still be at home with mommy, like sucking on her boobs, like getting fed.
Oh,
And
for
you
sure.
have these kids in the same fucking hallway. Like that is just fucking terrorizing, man. Like it's terrifying to even think about.
Well, if you really think about it, like I should say our freshman year, like, cause like South wasn't like fully completed yet. Like it didn't have that wraparound of hallways.
The
like,
poo plant was
down-
completed across the street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're still trying to connect to that poo plant.
Yeah. Get there.
They want to put like a overpass from the school to the poo plant.
Jesus, man.
Like shitty experience.
Yeah, real shitty, yeah. Nice. You
No,
sure
I
you're not a
remember-
dad? That was a dad joke.
It was. No, I remember like my freshman year, like you'd be at the end of like D Hall or C Hall, and like going up and down those hallways was such a pain in the ass because like it didn't have that, it didn't connect like it does now.
Right, I remember, yeah.
So like, I think they completed it like probably our sophomore year.
You literally have to walk from one corner all the way to the other, right? Like cross the pit and then into the
It
other.
was impossible. It
corridor.
was impossible for you to go from the end of like D Hall to like the end of C Hall because like everyone's trying to go down one hallway and everyone else is trying to come out. So it's like nobody even today knows how to walk on the right side of like a hallway.
And Will, I have this great idea, this fucking wonderful idea. So while we ring the bell and everyone at the same time leaves the classroom, let's give them 3 minutes to make it to their destination. Otherwise, they get a fucking report. Like, they get in trouble, all right? Let's do
come
that.
on, Jay, you have to give people time to stop at the pit and chat about what was.
That's right, dude. Jesus,
Cell
man.
phones weren't really, no one's like texting each other back then.
What a weird experience. What a weird experience high school is.
It really is.
Do you think that our high school is normal compared to others, or do you think not?
I think.
Think it's just like an
I
average
think so.
experience?
I think so. I think it was probably an average experience. I think it was for me. It was probably a very average experience of like. I feel like you had more of like you had more of like this is what we see in movies type of experience, whereas I did not have that experience.
What did you
I was not drinking at anyone's house
what did you think of me? Like
before I heard it or after I heard it.
before you heard it, just what was your thoughts on me?
I mean, I've always knew that you were like a good person. Like even because I think when you're like especially when you're in elementary school together, like no kid is really like faking being mean or like faking being nice.
Yeah.
Like you kind of see everyone's like true colors, especially like when you're kids.
Wonderful
And
point.
like I just knew from I think I've always had a really good intuition about people to begin with. I just know good. I think I feel like I just know good people when I meet them, and I know people like when their intentions are good. And I think I've always thought of you that way. Like you're just a good person trying to like do their best and support other people in their their journey in life.
Yeah, you're
You just want to
exactly
see
right.
the good. You just want to see the good in everyone and everyone. You want like everyone to be successful. And
You, you nailed it. That's how I feel. So thanks for seeing that. Yeah. Do you have a close group of friends? Because the way you just said that kind of tells me that you're very, I don't know if picky's the right word, but you're careful who you bring into your group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I've had actually people who I've introduced tell me like, wow, you have a really good group of friends. I'm like, it's not by like accident.
Right.
Like I've weeded out the people that I feel like are bringing me down and causing like negativity in my life, and
Oof,
I'm just
man.
not.
Yeah.
I'm not about that.
That's
Especially now.
That's a
Like,
big one. Negativity in the group. Just
Yeah.
like, dude, it can just suck the energy right out of you. Like that shit will change the human being you are.
Oh, 100%. That's what's going to cause you to have anxiety and need Xanax, and like those people are there to bring you down to their level because they're not happy with the way things are going out for them. So like, it's I've done a lot of I've done like a lot of soul searching and like deep diving into how people become the way that they are, like just reading different books, and I think I just now kind of have this like this is my life. Like you live your life because you have your own life. I have my life, and like I'll live mine the way that I want to, and like I really don't let people kind of like tell me what to do. I just like this is my life. I'm doing the best with it, and like if you like you can give me suggestions on to do stuff, but like you have your own life. Like if you really want to do those things, like you can go do those things. I'm not going to do them for you.
It's the backseat driver.
Yeah,
Right.
it's exactly what it is. I think I've seen that more in like older generations,
Totally.
and I think it's like a generational trauma type thing. But
Yeah.
I think we all kind of have some generational trauma.
So you said soul searching, man. Let's go ahead and get into this. So you were just diagnosed. Like, you want to go ahead and tell this whole story of what happened? I guess start from
Yeah,
like the beginning.
Yeah, so I know, and I kind of told you I would. So
Yeah.
So like last year in June, I every night before I was going to sleep, I would get this weird feeling, like a weird sensation, like in my mouth, or like a weird taste, or like a weird scent, and I would kind of fall asleep, and then I would wake up in a panic attack, and I'd have like a panic attack, and so this goes on for several months, and then in November, I'm watching football on a Sunday. I take a nap. I wake up and my back hurts. And I think really nothing of it. But then a couple days later, it still hurts. So I thought like maybe I just slept kind of weird. I go to my doctor. She gives me like muscle relaxers, and then probably like 3 weeks later, I wake up and from a nap, falling asleep watching football. And
Real quick, did you always take naps like this, or was this abnormal? Your nap taking?
this is probably more abnormal at this point. Like
Okay.
I took naps, but not like I started feeling exhausted. Like I constantly felt fatigued, and I just thought
Okay.
that was normal for people. Like I'm
Hmm.
like, oh, people are just they're working hard. Like everyone feels like this.
Yeah. Okay.
So I really don't think much of it, and you'll learn throughout this entire story of like when I start saying things like that,
Hmm.
it's me just being like, everyone feels this way.
Gotcha.
And so, so December 4th, actually I know all these dates because I've had to tell this story a bunch of times. So December 4th, I wake up from a nap and my back hurts so bad that I'm having a hard time breathing, and I can't walk. So immediately, like instead of calling 911, I call my mom, and I'm like you need to come take me to the hospital because I can't like my back hurts so bad I can't move.
Were you
So
like able to, if you wanted to, like kind of twitch your feet, or did you feel
I
like?
can kind of like I can walk, but it's incredibly painful.
Okay. Okay.
Like I need help. Like basically, I just need to be in a wheelchair.
I was thinking
I
like
need
paralysis, to where like you
Yeah,
didn't.
like so like even sitting in like a wheelchair was still like, and this is like my upper back is hurting. Like my upper back to like the middle of my back.
Okay.
So they do like a CT scan there in Good Shepherd in Barrington,
Mm-hmm.
and they released me. Like I don't remember what time we actually went in there, but I remember them officially releasing me really late, and the emergency room doctor who was like on the night shift was he goes well, first and foremost, everyone always asks me like, were you in a car accident recently? I'm like, no. Like I literally was just taking a nap and I woke up. And I think when I tell any doctor that, I immediately get this feeling that they think I'm lying to them,
That's interesting.
and which I'm not.
Why would you?
Exactly. I'm like, I just want to know what's wrong with me. So so he goes the results from this, like your spine, he goes it looks conducive of somebody who's like broken their back.
Oh Jesus.
So like I don't remember I don't think I told you this part of the story. So like he goes, you need to go see a back specialist, and then like you need to have an MRI on your back, or like more specifically my spine. So I go in, I get an MRI on my spine, and they say you have compression fractures in your vertebrae, your T4 through T9. I have like I have literal my spine is literally broken.
You're probably like, how could this happen?
That's exactly what I'm saying.
From taking a
That's
nap?
exactly what I'm saying.
What were you dreaming about, dude?
So I see my primary physician, the back doctor. No one can figure out what's going on with me. They do a bunch of blood work, stuff like that. Then we go to January 4th. And January 4th, I'm in a meeting with my boss on Zoom. And all I remember is my head kind of like it basically was a feeling of just getting really, really lightheaded.
Yeah.
And I passed out.
On the Zoom call?
Yeah, I passed out, fell out of my chair onto the floor.
Holy shit.
Thankfully, like my ex at the time was at my apartment, and she called 911 because I was having a seizure. So I have a seizure. I wake up in the hospital, Northwestern and McHenry, and they like are asking me, of course, like, do you know where you are? Do you know what happened? And I'm like, no. The first question I asked them was, I'm like, is my dog okay?
That was your first question?
My first question was, I was asking them if my dog was okay.
You have a dog, right?
I do have a dog.
Okay.
Her name is Cameo. She's like 12 years old. She's actually sitting right behind on my bed, sleeping.
Well, you're a good father.
I try to be. So like basically like that. The whole like I don't remember the paramedics taking me to the hospital. I don't remember like the ambulance ride there, which I was kind of like bummed about because like I've always wanted to be in an ambulance when like the sirens were on.
What?
I don't know why. Like ever since I was like a kid, I just like wanted to like just I don't know. It was a weird thing, and I was like So of course like when everyone like my parents like come and see me like in the hospital or whatever, they're like how are you feeling? I'm like I'm kind of pissed off. Like I go I didn't get to hear the fucking sirens because I didn't wake up.
I mean, I guess if that was like a fantasy of yours and you kind of missed out on
I
it.
mean, I wouldn't say it was a fantasy. Like, I wasn't going to sleep every night like, like
tonight's the night.
Tonight's the night. Give me with the sirens.
I missed it.
So then like a doctor comes in at night, and so when I was, they did a CT scan and an MRI when I got to the hospital of my head, like of my brain. And so a neurologist comes up and he tells me, like, we found a small, I don't know if he said small mass. I think he said we found a mass, or like I think they said it a lesion. So he goes, we found a lesion on your brain, which caused your seizures. So like, basically so when I say a mass or a lesion, basically what I mean is a tumor. A lesion is just a nice way of saying tumor. Because immediately when you say tumor, people, they think cancer. So they're kind of synonymous with each other. And I'm not a doctor, but that's pretty much what I've been able to gauge from asking the doctor. And so.
Will they use that term interchangeably?
Yeah, and like I kind of like the doctor that I had spoke to, like I asked him, I go, so I'm like, what's the difference between lesion and tumor? He's like, it's pretty much the same thing. He's like, we just like to use lesion because the connotation that comes with it isn't as like negative as tumor.
Sure.
Which I was like, fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
And so I'm in the.
Well, let me ask you real quick. Does it work?
Yeah.
Using that term rather than tumor? I mean, you're a good person to ask.
It does. Like, I mean, at the time, the reason that I always switched and I just told people that I had a tumor was because the first question you get after you tell them a lesion, they're like, well, what's that?
Oh, true. And then you're just going to resort
back
to that
word.
A
tumor.
Yeah.
So you kind of like, I kind of have like learned over time like how to explain things to people so that I don't get a lot of questions.
Mm-hmm.
Not because I don't mind answering them, but when you start telling like the story over and over and over again,
right?
Like you just kind of have learned where you get caught up in talking about stuff that's like fully irrelevant to the entire story,
right?
So like I get sent to they take me to Northwestern and McHenry, and unfortunately, my health insurance only covers Advocate. Because of the insurance plan that I have. So my insurance is going back and forth with Northwestern on transferring me out of there to an Advocate.
Oh, Jesus,
hospital.
Dude.
So like, I'm sitting in McHenry, which like, the staff there was awesome. Like I have nothing to complain about the staff. But they thought originally when I came in that I had a stroke. So they put me on a heart healthy diet, which basically means that all the foods that you get are super bland and they are so bad. They taste so bad. I'm not expecting like gourmet food from a hospital, but like.
But come on.
Like I can do better than this. Come on. And so, so I'm in there for like I think I was in there for 3 days, and it was them coming into my room and telling me like, okay, like they're looking for a spot for you, and they were basically like, Good Shepherd or Lutheran General in Park Ridge or Sherman. And so I'm just like, okay, like however fast you guys can get, so I can get out of the hospital. Because like no one wants to stay in a hospital. And if you do, good for you. But like, it's so sad and like boring. And you get woke up all the time for vitals, and which I understand all the stuff behind it,
of course,
but eventually like they're like, I think it was on I want to say a Friday, they're like, oh, we got a spot for you, we're just waiting for the transport. So like you're sitting there waiting for them to come in and be like, they're like, okay, they told me like at one point they're like, we have a bed for you at Lutheran General in Park Ridge. I'm like, okay, cool. And then like an hour later, I'm like, when am I going? They're like, oh, that bed got filled already, so you're gonna be here another night.
So not only are you dealing with this experience of knowing you have a lesion now it's like you have this kind of anticipation anxiety because you don't know if you're staying there. So it's like, just what are we doing? You can't treat people like this, man.
I know. So it's a rough experience. Like everything already is rough up until like eventually they're like okay, like it's like a Saturday morning and they're like okay, like we are transferring you today because like my insurance is, I think, complaining to them like, we've been telling you guys to transfer him.
Yeah.
They're also waiting for an advocate to open up for me to go to. So yeah, like they're like, the transfer will be here at 11. 11 rolls along and like, okay, they misheard us. They're coming at 1.
Oh my god, man.
And so I got to travel in an ambulance. The sirens went on, but
all right.
got to be in the ambulance and get transferred to Lutheran General in Park Ridge. And then they did another MRI, another CT scan to check my brain out, and then a neurosurgeon basically tells me, you have like a pretty, at the time it was a low-grade glioma, and they didn't know too much about it, but he goes, it looks, he's like, I'm pretty confident that it's benign, like based on, like, when you get an MRI, they'll put like a contrast in you, which will, when you look at a tumor, it'll light up if it's cancerous. And usually if it doesn't light up like bright white, usually there's like no cancer in there, from what I was told.
Right.
And mine like didn't light up super bright, so he's like, yeah, I'm confident it's benign, but like we have to do like a biopsy.
What does that consist of?
Oh, we'll get into it.
Jesus, man.
So, like, yeah, we'll schedule you for a brain biopsy. And at this point, like, I've been, excuse me, like, I've been told that, like, the waiting game is, like, the worst part of it, because they're like, okay, we have to do an MRI for you, like, an updated MRI. Because I got my first one done at Northwestern, and now they want it, because the records between hospitals, like, you have to sign a bunch of stuff, but also getting it has to be on a disc. It's a huge, with all the technology we have, I would say that's probably one of the dumbest fucking things, is like, they're like, oh, if you could bring a disc with the scans of your brain on it with you. I'm like, what?
I had the same situation with a broken bone. They wouldn't accept anything except for a disc from the exact doctor that I was at. Otherwise, nothing else was, like, they weren't allowed to see it.
Yeah, it's so dumb. And so, basically every day that I'm at Lutheran General, they're like, okay, we just need to wait for you to do an MRI still, and you're on the waiting list for it. And so like one night they're like, because obviously my goal is to get this MRI done for the neurosurgeon to tell me what's going on so I can get the fuck out. So I have a nurse who like tells me they run the MRI machine as long as someone's here. They'll run it 24 hours. So, like, you might get woke up in the middle of the night to do an MRI.
Wow.
And so she calls like the MRI department. Like my night nurse calls at like 9. She goes, there's only 4 people ahead of you. She's like, you're probably going to go, like, in the middle of the night. So, like, I haven't slept. Because I'm waiting for them to, like, also, like, all the different medications I'm taking, this is where I have, like, insomnia. I can't sleep.
Do you know what kind of medications they had you on?
I was on steroids.
Right.
For, the inflammation in my brain.
Yeah.
Like, the tumor, they were trying to cut down the inflammation.
Mm-hmm.
So I was taking dexamethasone, and that was one of the worst experiences. I don't ever want to have to do that again, for many reasons. But the non-sleeping is probably the worst one, because like you kind of would start to fall asleep, and then I would just wake up, like, I'd be like in and out of sleep for like 2 hours, and I'd be wide awake all night. And so like when I finally got out, I would just like clean and do random shit around my apartment.
Oh Jesus, man!
But I'm waiting. So yeah, I'm waiting for this girl to come get me like throughout the middle of the night. So like I'm not sleeping, and she finally comes in to take my vitals like 3 o'clock in the morning, and it's like right after I've kind of already fallen asleep finally. But that's what always happened. Like you fall asleep and someone comes like, we need to take your vitals, and she's like, she goes, okay, the MRI department still has 4 people ahead of you. I guess the emergency room was really busy tonight, so they were only doing people coming in. And I'm like,
Gotcha.
Whatever.
Okay.
So then 7 o'clock in the morning rolled along. I'm like hungry. I ordered my breakfast, 5 minutes later,
It's
I'm like, we're here to take you down for your MRI.
the worst timing.
So I go down there and for one thing, I am kind of claustrophobic. Like my biggest fear in life is being buried alive.
Yikes. Yeah, it's a bad
And
one.
MRI is not good for people like that because that's exactly what it feels like.
Especially when you're pumped up with all this new medication too that you're not feeling right.
Yeah. So what the good thing is that when you tell them hey, I get really bad anxiety and I'm very claustrophobic, they're like, okay, and then they just stick a bunch of drugs in your IV and it makes you feel better.
Were you not fully out, but just kind of Twilight?
I hadn't slept all night. I was pretty much out.
Okay.
So once I got in there, but what I didn't know was that they were doing two MRIs at a time because they were doing an MRI on my spine again, and they were doing one on my brain. I kind of felt like I'd been there for an hour, and I'm like, why am I still in here? And at this point, I've been laying flat for an hour. My back hurts so
Hell
bad.
yeah. Oh, man.
So I just remember the MRI person being like, hey, are you okay in there? I'm like, my back really hurts. I'm like, I don't know if your notes say that I have compression fractures in my spine. And she's like, do you think you can make it a little bit longer? And I'm like, yeah. I can make it a little bit longer. I'm like, how much longer? She's like, 30 minutes. That's not a little bit longer. So I made it maybe 52 seconds after that. And I was like, all right. I need to come out.
Yeah.
And then they're how bad is the pain? I'm like, it's pretty bad. And then they gave me morphine and some anti-nausea drugs and put me back in there and wasn't done. I'm right back in sleep. And so, the neurosurgeon eventually tells me, he goes, we're pretty sure it's benign, but we want to do a biopsy on it. So let's, he's like, we can either do it tomorrow or you can come back in a week. And we'll discharge you from the hospital today, and then you can come back here in a week and do the biopsy. And I was like, based on how long it took me to get an MRI, I'm like, what's the chances of me getting bumped and not doing my biopsy tomorrow and having to stay here? And he kind of started smiling.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'll go home. I'm like, I'll come back next week.
Good answer.
He's like, all right. So the biopsy consists of First of all, he downplayed the entire thing. He's like, oh yeah, it's an outpatient thing, you come in.
It's okay.
And my dumb ass is like,
yeah.
wow, technology's really good.
Yeah, dude.
That they can do this outpatient.
I just gotta spit, and they'll take my DNA from my saliva in and out.
I was like, man, I go, wow, this is really good. So, go forward a week, they do an MRI before I go in my biopsy so that they have the most up-to-date accurate data of my brain.
Right.
Then he tells me that he's like, there would probably be a 1-inch incision on the right side, kind of the side of my head, which is
they
did a good job because you can't see the scar.
Jesus.
But he goes, we're gonna make a 1-inch. It was a 2-inch incision. And then he goes, we make a really small hole, and then I found out later it's a dime. They drill a dime-sized hole.
A dime?
That's what he told me. He said a dime-sized hole, and then they take a little tiny. It's a tool that's the size of a. He told me the size of a piece of hair.
Yeah, well, they also said that a short time is 30 minutes, and we both know
I
that's
know.
not.
Everyone he downplays stuff. So
Okay.
All the time, and it's he's telling me all this, and then he's like, you're probably, I was like, I forget exactly how it went, but at one point he goes, so you'll be in the ICU, you'll be here overnight, and my eyes widened. He goes, did you think you were getting out of here today? I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's what you told me, but I'm like, maybe you didn't. He's like, and he started laughing, and he's like, I don't think I did, but I'm like, if I go back, I'm almost positive he's just made it sound not a big deal so I wouldn't worry about it or be nervous, which worked because I wasn't.
Maybe that's one of his tactics, right?
It might be. And so the only thing I was mad about was I didn't bring a phone charger with me, so I wasn't prepared to stay overnight. But I will say that the most pain that I've ever been is waking up from that biopsy because my head hurts so bad. It was like having a pressure, a sinus headache plus a migraine.
Yeah, dude, they drilled in your brain.
I know, and that's like what the neurosurgeon PA, when I had said all that stuff, she's like, we're drilling a hole in your brain. She's like, I don't think you're gonna get an outpatient surgery for that. I'm like,
Oh my
like now that you say that, that makes a lot of sense.
Just get in the car and drive home.
Yeah. So yeah, it's like I'm there overnight, and which is fine. And then 2 weeks later, I go into an appointment, and they told me I have a grade 2 astrocytoma, which is basically a brain cancer, and my tumor is in my right frontal and temporal lobe. It actually like spreads between both of them, and it's a little bit bigger than a golf ball, but it's inoperable. So like, there's nothing that they can do. They can't take it out. All I can do is radiation and chemotherapy, which I've already started this week. So I got like second opinions from Northwestern, and they kind of said the same thing. Yeah, so like it just really crazy from going thinking like, oh, I just have a brain tumor that is benign and it's not gonna be a big deal, to like basically getting a bombshell like, yeah, you have brain cancer. So it's pretty crazy. It's crazy to like I don't ever really like get I don't get sad about it, and I don't like I'm very optimistic and very positive. Like I've basically told everyone, I'm like, brain cancer isn't taking me down. Like it can be something else in life. It's not gonna be brain cancer. So like I think that's kind of the thing that kind of sucks is when you tell people, you either get two reactions, maybe three, but the main two are like, I'm so sorry. And then you get people who are like, oh my God. And they start crying. And when they start crying, I start laughing, because uncomfortable situations make me laugh. And there's really nothing that I can do about that. So like I've had people start crying, and I basically I kind of have to react with a like, it's okay, really, it's okay. I'm gonna be fine. Like I'm going through treatment, everything's gonna be great. And so yeah, like the whole experience, like with insurance, and like I've been off work for, I think now, since the seizure. It's like it's a lot with like appointments and then lab work, and I think that's part of the process that gets to be the most exhausting. And I can't speak for people who have like more aggressive cancer or like different types of cancer. Like I don't know how everyone else feels, but like the radiation and chemo part just makes me super tired. And the advice I'll give to anybody about talking to someone who you find out has cancer, or someone who might have cancer, is it's nice to like reach out and be a friend. But from my own experience, I have friends who reach out way too much, and I fully it's hard to say, and it kind of sucks, and I don't like, but it's kind of like, how are you feeling today? I've just gotten to the point where I just tell people I'm tired, because it's the truth. But there's really not much more going on besides like stuff that you wouldn't care about. Like, yeah, I'm dealing with my insurance company right now, or like,
right,
the boring part of it, I guess. Like people want updates all the time. Like I don't have any updates because it takes forever to get going with certain things. Like I found out about my cancer on February 2nd, and I just started treatment this week. So like, almost a month later, and even getting it started was like a huge pain because I didn't have like my chemo medicine. So like, radiation and chemotherapy are two different things. Chemotherapy is like chemical, and radiation is really like lasers zapping my brain. So like I do radiation in the morning, and I take my chemo pill like I took before this.
So the radiation, is that where you sit in a lazy boy and they
I wish it was
pump
a lazy
you
boy.
up?
It's a really so.
Have you seen Breaking Bad? That's what I'm thinking of. Like when he has
It's not. not like that. Might be for some people. Like, but I think it just depends on where you get it. Like the way that mine works is I have like a cool badge and I walk into the hospital and I scan my badge. It's not like it doesn't say like the hospital on it or anything, but like it's just like they know I'm there, and then I go to the radiation spot and then they scan my badge there, and I lay on a really uncomfortable, like basically what I'll call it is like a wood plank, almost like you're getting an MRI. And then they put this mask over your face, which I've kind of described as feeling like you're putting on like a Spider-Man mask. But basically it's just like this white like fishnet that kind of like expands a little bit, and they just like they put it over your face, almost like you're getting waterboarded without the water.
Jesus, okay.
And so like it's just so you can't move, and they can keep the radiation that they're doing consistent. But like, I mean, it's all done by software, so you just kind of sit there for like, honestly, it's only about 5 to 10 minutes, if that.
This doesn't seem like a big ask, but I think that you should bring up if you can do it in the back of an ambulance with those lights on. I feel like this would be the time that you should ask for that.
Can someone come pick me up from my house one of these days and take me to the hospital? No, I'll get a bill for an unnecessary ambulance visit. Like, I have to pay $5,000 or something.
Exactly right. Yeah.
So, yeah, like basically like once you start going through it, then you have to do like weekly blood tests to make sure that like your white blood cell count is good, and like my platelets and my liver enzymes, which is one of the reasons why I really can't drink alcohol like at all.
For sure. Yeah.
And like, I mean, I pretty much haven't been drinking since the seizure because alcohol can cause me to have seizures. So I actually take anti-seizure medicine now twice a day, and it's like I'm fully medicated up. And I think the biggest thing, I think throughout the whole entire process, like I'm cool about all of it, and like what will be is what will be, and I'll just do my best to like fight it and get through it and keep living a normal life. Even though I won't really ever have like a normal life ever again, per se. But like the thing that surprises most people is just how young I am. And I think some people actually go into like a denial about it. Because like, you're 35 years old, like this can't happen to you. It's very like it's kind of sad. Like, not like in a bad way, but it is sad to kind of think about like, wow, I'm so young and I have this. Like, this only happens in like brain tumors like this only happen in like 1% of, I think, people in America. I read a stat a while ago. I don't know if it was America or the world. I'm pretty sure it's just like maybe America.
That's how low it is, huh?
It's very rare what I have. I don't exactly know the exact percentages, but I know it's a single digit percentage.
Has your thought process completely changed since getting that news?
Yeah. So I think my thought process and everything changed when I actually had my seizure. I don't really necessarily think it was when they told me I had cancer. I think that was to me kind of a near-death experience where like, if I hadn't been like lucky enough where someone would have been here, like who knows what would have happened? Like, because I don't.
Yeah.
But I think like I've said it before to people. I'm like, that person needs to have a near-death experience.
Correct.
The only reason I say it is because like I really do feel like having this experience that I'm going through right now changes the outlook that you'll have on life, and you really become way more appreciative for much larger scope things, and not like little inconveniences. Like, a lot of people I think complain about a lot of like little things, but when you're like dealing with this, you're like, that's so trivial. Like, it doesn't mean anything to, like, in the grand scheme of things. And that's kind of why almost like social media for me has become like this. Like, I scroll and I'm like, this is stupid.
Mm-hmm.
None of this means anything. Like, there's so many bigger things and like bigger issues that people are dealing with that nobody knows about. And I think that's kind of, I've always been very kind to people. Mm-hmm. And like, as long as they're respectful to me, I'll be respectful to them.
Same.
I think it goes more now than it ever has because you just never know what somebody's dealing with. And I actually ran into that occurrence about a week ago with like when it snowed really hard and we were having like a blizzard.
Yeah.
I'd ordered some groceries because like when you have a seizure, you're not allowed to drive for 6 months.
Oh, jeez.
So like I can't. So like every time I go to all these appointments and stuff, like my dad has to drive me.
Okay. Yeah.
And so I order groceries. Basically, if I need groceries, like I'll order them through like Instacart.
Right.
And my apartment complex is kind of tricky. So I'm trying to like in this middle of this like snowstorm that we're having. I'm like trying to like navigate this older lady to where my apartment is. Like I'm outside in like this blizzard, and at one point she says, "It's really nice. All you Instacart people can just sit here while somebody else does your shopping for you."
Oh my God.
I could tell she's just frustrated.
Yeah.
I don't ever really use the cancer card too much, and I really refrain from telling most people that I have cancer. But in situations like this, all I said to her was, I'm like, well, if it makes you feel better, I have cancer. And like the shift in her attitude and like I think she kind of maybe felt the like, wow, like there are bigger things in life than complaining about people who like some people like I think to her maybe it was some people can't go grocery shopping, so that's why I'm doing it for them. Like whereas some other people are just lazy.
You might have done that lady a favor by saying that because her life might have just like turned right then and there, and now her perspective is completely changed. Like she's slowing down now. Like not everyone's like lazy and has people do their shopping. Like people have some serious shit going on. Take a step back, think about it.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's kind of why I use it in those types of situations so that people know. Like you don't really know what's going on in someone's life, so like the comments that you might make to someone, like just rethink them. Like don't like some of that negative energy doesn't need to be put out in the world. Like you don't need to do it. Like someone like I don't need to hear it. And like I'm not gonna like I get it. She's probably frustrated. She's tired, and I don't know her story. Maybe she's just got off of working like a 12-hour shift somewhere, and she's just trying to make some extra money. Like I don't know her story, so I'm not gonna judge her for that. But I think like when you do put stuff in perspective for people, like I do it to even my mom or my dad now, and it's like I'm just like, well, like that's a little thing. I'm like, you're not having to like wake up every day and go to the hospital to get radiation done, and I'm like, you don't have to deal with like the chemotherapy killing cells in your body, and I was like, there's a lot of things I think in life that people, I think they waste way too much time on, and they don't spend enough time like really enjoying their life, and I think that's one of the big things of like
enjoying their health.
Yeah.
I think everything becomes secondary over health, man, because if you have like $1 million and you live in a mansion, you have like everything you could imagine, but if you feel like you have the flu every single day, I'm not saying that's what cancer feels like, but I'm just using this as an example. If you feel that you have the flu every single day, like when you have the flu and you're on your bed, you're like, oh man, I wish I could just get up and walk and go out and get some fresh air, like moving. That's all you think about is just being healthy. Take everything for granted when you're not healthy.
I think about that right now with being able to drive a car. Like, God, I wish I could get in my car and drive to like Chick-fil-A or like anywhere. And I think that's like the stuff that we kind of take. Like I think we take a lot of stuff for granted. And I think the stuff that some people take for granted isn't stuff that you should take for granted. Like there's more important things in life, and like what I kind of realized was like my health right now is my priority.
Yeah.
And it's something that I've never really done in my entire life, where I made my health a priority. And kind of what I was like saying before, which was there were a lot of things that were happening to me. Like I was having, and I'm not saying that anybody who listens to this, like this is your situation. So like, don't become a hypochondriac because of what I'm about to say.
Right.
Like I was having these really bad like pressure headaches right behind my right eye, which, you know, coincidentally my tumor is located pretty much right behind my right eye. So I was having these headaches that like it was just like pressure on my eye, and it hurt so bad. But I didn't think anything of it. I was like, oh, I work in IT. I sit on a computer all day. Like my eyes are just strained.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like
being tired all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like, oh, like that's normal for people to be tired all the time. Like, everyone's working and, doing life, and like people are just tired and like living off caffeine, which is another thing I had to give up.
Oh,
So like,
man.
I'm on a no alcohol, no caffeine. It's wasn't as hard as I thought it was gonna be. It wasn't easy, but it wasn't as hard as I thought.
The caffeine?
Yeah, I think overall, I don't know which one. I'd say alcohol probably was easier to give up. But I also had reduced my caffeine intake like from many years ago. So like, because when I drank too much caffeine, I would be up all night. So that's what happens with old age, I suppose. But like, I think I'm trying to think of other things. Like I lost a bunch of weight like randomly. I want to say I lost like over the course of maybe like 2 or 3 months. I lost like 30 pounds, like not really trying to.
Jesus, man, good for you.
Kinda like-
Yeah, you probably feel better, like physically.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and then of course, like a lot of it's contributing to like, oh, you have this tumor, like you have cancer. Like a lot of these things are things that, like all I really have told people is, if something in you like doesn't feel right, it doesn't hurt just to go to your doctor and have them check it out. And I mean, like, not everything needs that, but like, I think like for me, I had a weird feeling, and I actually had said it to my ex like, maybe a year ago. I told her that I was pretty sure that I had cancer.
Now, have you said things like that in the past? Because sometimes I feel like
a manifestation, and I don't think I manifested that because I didn't want it. But I do think that like I had a weird feeling. I don't know. I was like, you know what? Statistically,
here we go again.
someone I know, or like someone I love should like be getting really sick or having like some sort of like major medical like cancer thing. And I'm like, you know what? I'm like, it has to be me. I'm like, I haven't had any sort of like bad medical things happen to me almost my entire life.
No ailments.
Yeah, like I've been pretty healthy, pretty much like for the most part my entire life, and then like that's kind of why I had said it, just because I kind of started feeling a lot more tired lately and not really myself around the summer, and the things I had kind of said about before, like the weird taste and the weird smell, and like waking up and having. So back to the story of my spinal fractures. They find out that like I've been having these seizures probably. So those are called. They're called auras. People who like they're like precursors to having seizures. So like it happens to certain people where like they might get like deja vu or like weird smell or weird taste, and I can't describe to you what they are. They are really indescribable. It's like there's no word that I think that exists for what you feel. But you just kind of know. And so all of my neurologists pretty much have said that my fractures came from having a seizure while I was sleeping.
That's dangerous.
Yeah, I mean, good thing I'm in a bed, so like, because like the thing I had always failed to mention was like one of the times the first nap I woke up from, my pillowcases were covered in blood.
Oh Jesus, man!
I know, it was like a scene out of The Godfather.
Oh God! What'd you make of it? Like when you saw that?
Wintertime, dry nose, like dry.
you just justify it any possible way, man.
I justified everything. Yeah. So like of course, like when I look back at these things, I'm like, God, you're an idiot. Like you had all the signs of like you should have gone. I mean, in all fairness, I did see my primary physician and like had told her these things, and she didn't pick up on it, and neither did the back doctor I had seen after that. So like I had talked to some doctors before then who didn't pick up on what was going on. But I mean, like, I don't fault them. Like no one's gonna know that I have a brain tumor with like cancer.
Let's say if you did catch it like on set, like really early, was there anything that could be done anyways? Because it's inoperable, right? So
yeah, it's because where it's located, like so when they talk about operating on it, like anyone's tumor, it's like a risk reward type thing. Like how much damage could we do going in there, taking out certain parts of this thing, versus like leaving it in there and just doing like radiation and chemo. So, like the tumor will be with me for the rest of my life. unless like radiation magically shrinks it to get going away on its own.
Which has that happened before?
They've very, very rarely.
But
like,
this is a rare case as well, so I mean, shit, man.
True. I mean, who knows?
Right?
If it does it, awesome. I mean, if not, it's.
You're the person that I would bet my money on for it to work.
That's like it's gone both ways though too. Where like I'm like, oh yeah, that could work for me, and then like there's other times where it's like 1% of people going through chemo develop a secondary cancer, so like you might get leukemia. I'm like, well, great.
I see. Leukemia is a blood cancer?
They're what?
Is leukemia a blood cancer? Is that what leukemia is?
Yeah.
My uncle had that.
So like, so like, I like as soon as he says it, I'm like, come on, man, like you know my odds right now. Like,
come on.
I'm the person that gets this kind of stuff. But like, I mean, the way that I've kind of looked at it since the beginning was, I'm like, you know what? If it's gonna happen to anyone, I'm glad it happened to me, because like I feel like I have the mindset and the mentality and the strength to get through it. Whereas I feel like if it happened to certain other people, they might not know how to handle it. Like I've always kind of felt like, well, this is part of my journey, and like this is, we'll keep going until it comes to its end.
Where do you think that mindset came from, dude? I'm glad you said that, because I often feel like that a lot. Like, dude, I'm glad that I got in trouble instead of these people, or I went through this instead of someone else, because I know I can handle it. I know I can.
I think I remember you. I remember listening to your you say that, and I remember when you said it, like it was the one thing that really like stuck out the most. Because I was like, I think that same way. It's just, and honestly, I think it comes from like life experience. I just think like just relationships that didn't work, like male or female. Like, I think like jobs that I've had, or like, I think all these like different experiences in life have like led me to this exact point where I'm at, where like things start going really well for you, and then you get a setback. And I was like, well, I think I was due for a pretty big setback like this. So I think you just have to, like I said, it's the perspective on life just has to change. And I think once it does, you're appreciative so much more of like everything. And I think when you stop caring more about what other people think, you just say like what you want to say, and you don't go that route. I think that kind of builds it too. Stop
being influenced. And that's what this entire world has become. It's just like everyone's influenced by what they see. And I don't even know who's real. I don't know what's real. I don't know who's real nowadays, man. Except I know you're pretty fucking real. So that's a relief to hear.
That's all we can do. Like I don't have, like, especially now, like, before all this, like, I wasn't fake by any means. Like, I've always been a very big proponent of just being who you are, because, like, I don't have time to be fake with anyone. I don't have time to bullshit someone. Like, I'm just going to tell you how it is and, like, how I feel, and if you don't like it, it ain't my fucking problem.
Right. It's much easier to live life like that, dude, than having to go through, like, a web of lies and putting on a fake face. That shit's exhausting, man.
Oh, yeah. I used to always talk about it being like the mask, which is kind of funny that I wear a mask now when I have to get radiation.
Right.
But like the times in my life, because like I've had pretty severe lows where like I was severely depressed. I mean, like probably more in my earlier 20s, where like I was severely depressed. I was suicidal. Like I didn't want to live anymore. Like I mean, like I went through all that, and I will say that like music definitely, Kid Cudi probably was one of the people. Like it's funny that Pete Davidson like kind of talks about how Kid Cudi saved his life, and I feel like the same way.
Yeah, a lot of people say that about Kid Cudi when that album dropped. Like it came at like the right time for a bunch of people that were like, "Dude, you saved my life with that shit."
That album did save my life.
Yeah.
I share a birthday with him too, so like my biggest dream in life is to just like
no way
celebrate our birthdays together.
So many synchronicities.
Have a sleepover at my parents' house.
Do you have a lot of synchronicities like that you're noticing?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. I think like I think those dark parts of like anyone's life, I think like that dark part of my life like helped me mold into this mindset that I have now, which is like when I start to feel depressed, like I know what's gonna get me out of it. And so like that's kind of what I follow like the blueprint that I've created for myself to stop like to not be anxious. Like anxiety will always be a thing that I'll always have anxiety. Mine's not like crippling to like the point of a lot of other people where like I know like a lot of people who take Xanax and like I mean if it helps you, it helps you. Like I'm not gonna.
I think that's part of the human experience, man. Having anxiety, because what we have right now isn't forever. Like we all know it ends at some point, so there's gonna be an anxiety.
There is, but you know what? It's all gonna end at some point, so you might as well live it the way that you want now.
100%.
I think that's like a part of like the big thing for me was just like. I mean, it's cliche to say like life's too short, but I mean like when you get diagnosed with cancer at 35, like you kind of like that's where like I think when people say it to you, it doesn't really mean much. Like when you're like people are like life is too short, you're just like yeah, I guess and whatever. When it's actually happening to you, like in the event of like you have brain cancer,
yeah,
I think it shifts and it hits you a lot harder.
There's actual substance to that now.
Right.
Like,
exactly.
It was just kicking tires and blowing smoke when everyone says like life is too short. That's just something you say.
Yeah.
But when you're looking at it like face to face in the mirror, like yeah, man, you're gonna have some thoughts going through your mind, and I mean, you can take one or two ways, man. Like you can be depressed about it and basically give up and implode, or what do? You know, you like live your life, live it how you want to fucking live.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's like the big thing that I've kind of wanted people to take away is like don't undervalue like what you have, and because like your life could literally change in like the blink of an eye.
Literally,
it's literally like it's pretty crazy. Like just like where like I would say like the last month and a half has been. 2023 in general probably has been like such a blur for me. Like it's just, I think it's the one of the harder things is like when you go to bed, like you know the person that you are, like you know what you do for a job and like your family, like you have like your life isn't like, I mean, not that it's planned out, but like you have a pretty stable structure to your life, and when like you find out or like when you have a seizure, then you're in a hospital, and then you're off work, and you kind of like have an identity crisis. Like that's what I did. I experienced like an identity crisis where I was like, who the fuck am I anymore? Mm-hmm. And I'm like I was like, I'm just a guy who was working and like had a dog and like playing video games like a normal person. And now I'm sitting in a hospital bed, and then I find like it's like I have a seizure, I have a brain tumor, I have cancer. Like now I'm going through treatment, like radiation and chemotherapy. Like it's crazy to like think that all these things are happening, and it's just a blur of just like who you are. And like I think the one thing that kind of came out of it was like what I didn't want to be identified as is the guy with cancer. Like I just didn't want people to think of me that way. I just always like wanted to be Will, and what you kind of learn is when people find out that you have cancer, they don't treat you the same way. I think a lot of like some of my friends they're probably like a lot nicer to me. Not to say that they weren't nice to me before, but like it's almost like you kind of feel like you're getting babied.
Yeah.
Like everyone wants to help out, and like everyone's like, I'm here to help you, and I'm like, I appreciate that, but like there's nothing that I have that I need help with right now at this moment.
All right, dude, after this podcast, I'll block you.
Yes, finally. How's the podcast going? Really well. You blocked me.
Listen, man, I think that before this happens, like it could have been that you just became complacent with your life, and maybe that this happens, that there like a filter changed within you, and now there's like you're gonna hit a new gear because you unlocked something that could only have been unlocked when put under pressure or in this exact circumstance.
You're
Like
exactly right.
you wouldn't know, like you wouldn't know how to act unless this happens. Like this is bringing it out of you right now because of this situation.
Oh yeah, you're 100% right, and like people have actually have said that to me. They're like, wow, like you definitely do have like a really different outlook on life now. Like I'm like, yeah, I do. Like I'm very appreciative of like of having life and have like I think I lived my life a lot in fear, like fear of getting in trouble or fear of which is probably why my high school experience sucked. Just like I was never the kid who got in trouble. Like
You want to fly under the radar?
Yeah, like I never like, and I think I was always afraid. I think it was because I was always afraid of what my parents would think if I got in trouble, or like I was always worried about what people would think, and now I'm just like, fuck it, I don't care. Like I'm just gonna do whatever I want. I'm gonna do what makes me happy. Like I still care about people's feelings, but it's also like it's a weird like I'm before all this I was definitely like a people pleaser and like I just wanted to make people happy and when you kind of step back and you're like, well, maybe I should like take care of myself instead of trying to take care of everyone around me first.
Yeah.
It's kind of a different it's a different feeling and it's a different like it waking up every day definitely feels like a lot different, but like in a good way.
Do you almost feel refreshed when you wake up because there's no filter at all? This is like pure will right now.
There definitely is no filter. Trust me. I think my biggest problem was that even talking to people, like I would just say stuff that like I probably wouldn't ever say before.
Yeah.
Not in a bad like sounds kind of bad. Like,
God damn,
like,
Will.
You know, like there's just things that I just like I said, like I don't feel like I have to bullshit anyone. Like I can just be real with them, and I think that's I just want to be real with people and tell them how I feel about things. And if people are being assholes, I'm just gonna tell them that they're being an asshole. Like I have no problem.
If there's an opportunity that you see that you really want, you're gonna take it now because you understand. You understand that tomorrow is not promised today. When before all this, like maybe I'll sleep for another day, or I'll do it next week. Yeah, you just procrastinate.
Procrastinate on everything.
Yeah.
I have time. And then eventually you're like, oh shit, maybe I don't have as much time as I thought.
Always, and that's when that's when it comes to like life is short, and people say that when they're fucking like 89 years old and are on their deathbed with so much regret. Like, dude, you had the opportunity, you had the chance, you had it, you had 2 feet, you can go and do that. You wanted to do it, but you didn't. Something was stopping you.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a lot of people. I mean, I think a lot of people go to sleep one night and then they wake up the next day and they're 83 years old now. What the fuck did I do?
Dude.
And I think that's kind of how I had felt probably through my 20s. And like after like when this started happening, I just kind of was like, what have you been doing?
That's the scariest thing.
It is. So like the day that I actually the day I had my seizure, I actually went and got all my passport stuff done, like earlier in the day.
Look at that shit. Jesus.
So my passport just came in a week ago because I've been saying forever, like I had decided before I had my seizure that I wanted 2023 to be a really good year. And that I was gonna do things outside the box, and like I was gonna like travel more, and like I've always wanted to go to like the UK, and there's places I visit and I see other people visit, and I'm just like, I would love to do that. And like part of me, like the fear part of me was always like, no, you wouldn't like it there.
Right.
And I think like now I'm just kind of like, just go for it. Who fucking cares? Like, what's the worst that could happen?
There's this one saying, man, and I forgot the rest of it, but it's like, I asked God for strength and he gave me tough times. Like, so shit like that to build you up, to make you strong.
Yeah.
And there's a few more that go with that, but I forgot what it was. But when I heard it, I'm like, good Lord, man, that makes That makes sense. Be careful what you wish for, because it's not going to come in the way that you expect it.
There's. I think like you kind of start finding silver linings in more things.
Yeah.
Like it's like the not being able to drive part. Like some of the silver linings of that are like I get to spend more time with my dad.
Yeah.
And like we like get to like before like I mean I have a great relationship with both my parents, but like I think like as I have gotten older, like I think my relationship with my dad probably like I don't see him as often, like I probably don't talk to him as often, but now like I get to talk to him pretty much every day.
That's cool.
So like there's silver linings in everything that's happened, and like I've met a lot of great people through this. I've had a lot of like I do have a really good support system of people, and I think that's very important because like there's always gonna be days where especially for me like where I don't I'm not like super like upbeat and happy and like most of the time it's just because I'm tired, but like you know like it's just stuff that you have to fight through, but it's always nice having someone there and like talk to you or give you a hug or like it's just sometimes like you do need that. And I think like I know my friends are like I said before, like they're always trying to help out and like want to make sure that I'm okay and like always asking me if I need things, but when you have like all your family and like all your friends and everyone's reaching out to you asking you how you're doing and stuff like that, and getting like 15 text messages being like, how are you feeling? They're like, well, I'm kind of annoyed, but I appreciate you caring about me enough to ask.
Yeah, at least you know like where they're coming from, though.
It's
right.
like it's hard because you're like you try not to be mean or like I try not to be mean about it or like but sometimes it's just like you just like
it's a little much.
You can catch someone just right in the wrong moment.
Right.
And like I think that's kind of what it's like is because a lot of times like I'm waiting for answers from doctors on stuff. Like this was before treatment started. Now everything's pretty straightforward. But like when I was waiting for like my results for my tumor, and everyone's like, any update? I'm like, I'll let you all know when I have an update. And also like people would ask me like from a family standpoint, like my mom would be like, "Did you tell so and so?" I'm like, no. I'm like, I'm not going through the phone book to like reach out to everyone and be like, "Hey, guess what? I have brain cancer." I'm like, how awkward is that? Like no one wants that. I'm like just tell people like you know like when you talk to them. And I'm like, but don't just reach out to people for this to be the subject because like that's the opposite of what I want. And like very early on, I was very like not wanting to tell anyone anything until I knew exactly what it was, like if it was cancerous or not. Because what I didn't want to do was to go around and being like, I have a brain tumor, but I don't know if it's cancerous or not. And then like I have other people who care about me who are all worrying about if I have cancer or not.
Yeah.
So it's just another journey in life, man. The baseball part with the fractured spine, like that's kind of what caused me from making a comeback, like starting my comeback recently.
How's your spine right now?
Right now it's fine. It only hurts. So it only hurts in the mornings when I wake up, which usually after I stretch it out a little bit, it's okay. Like I can sit here and I can walk around pretty normal, but like I'm a pretty avid golfer, so like it sucks golfing now. Like
the worst thing for your back.
Probably, but I refuse to not golf.
Hell no! If you're gonna golf, you golf, man.
I don't care. I'm like, I don't care if my back. I don't care if I'm like literally in two pieces. If I can swing a golf club, I'm gonna do it.
If that's what makes you happy, are you not allowed to be happy?
That's what I said. I'm like, I don't like. I told my parents were convinced that my back hurt because I had been golfing, like, which I'm like, it's like the wintertime. I'm like, when's the last time I golfed? Like Top Golf, like a month ago. Like, come on.
My slice isn't that bad.
I know. I'm like, I'm a pretty good golfer. Worked on it. I spent a lot of time working on golf. Way too much time.
I love golf too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been wanting to I went to a simulator last Saturday. And that's like kind of gets me the the little fix of golf that I need over the winter.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I think at one point they were joking with the doctor at one point, like they're all laughing about me golfing, and I think my dad made a joke like something like, yeah, they're probably gonna tell you can't golf. I'm like, that's one doctor's order I'm not following.
Second opinion, bitch.
I'm like, no alcohol, no caffeine. All right, no golf.
Okay.
You guys are crazy.
This ain't for me.
Go to another doctor. Give me the answer I want.
Dude, so there's like 4 people that I know that I didn't look for the answer, but have been diagnosed with cancer or something along those lines. And it's Katie Bergantino. Did you hear about that one?
I do know. Yeah, that's sad.
Yeah, that was really bad. Craig Forstall.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that one.
He's got testicular cancer. He just posted something like last month, I think, and he's going through some insurance stuff as well. So he has like a GoFundMe page because he just started a job, and like, dude, insurance is so fucked up in this country, man. That like,
I'll tell you a fucked up story about insurance.
Yeah. No, you can go ahead and tell that.
So, when you want to get, so like, obviously there's a bunch of different plans you can have. Mine is like, I have to go through Advocate. Like, I have an HMO. It's what it is. But like, the thing is that when you want to get a second opinion outside of your network, your insurance won't approve anything because it's not inside your network.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, what the fuck is the point of getting a second opinion anywhere if
True.
you only stay within your network? I'm like, because I go, the neuro-oncologist that I have, like I have a team of doctors who work with me. Neuro-oncologist is like the main one. She's like in charge of all the neuro units for Advocate, like in the area. So I'm like, if I go get a second opinion from another neurologist at another Advocate, they're going to go back to her and she's like, oh yeah, that's the person I'm already working with. Like, just tell them the same thing I already told them. So I was like, I was kind of lucky that I actually don't know how this ended up working out in my favor, but I got a second opinion from Northwestern and I didn't have to pay a bunch of money, like an out-of-pocket. Not that I know of. I'll probably get a bill in like 3 months from now. Like, then I owe them like $500 for the consult.
That's how it works, man. Like a few months later, you just get this bill. Thought it was free.
But yeah, like that's like just like the runaround of like, I'm like, this is like a monopoly on health insurance.
Oh, completely. I think we're the only nation to do that too. I think it's just the USA that does shit like this.
Oh, for sure.
Crazy.
Like, I'm like, I love America, but greedy motherfuckers in the healthcare system really need to do something.
It's so sad when like people are on the verge of having a heart attack or near-death experience, and they have to think if they want to call an ambulance and go to the hospital because how much it's going to cost. That's the most fucked up thing to think about. Someone's life.
You have to calculate whether or not the debt is worth the
yeah, man. In a dying situation, you're like, I don't want to put that strain on my family. That's too much money. What?
It is crazy. It's crazy to think about.
Yeah, I was in Japan and I met this Canadian at a bar and he was telling, like, he got like really sad. He's like, I feel so bad for you guys. He like started cheering up about your insurance policies out there, man. It's like people just die because they don't want to be just like slaves to the debt. And he started getting so emotional. I'm like, yeah, man, it's fucking terrible. It's horrible. So everyone sees it.
Yeah, it's tough, man. Like, it's just all the like different approvals you need and referrals, and
yeah,
I'm going through stuff now with like short-term disability and stuff, like which is kind of separate from insurance, but like just the whole process of all that is so like I think that's part of like one of the most draining parts of the whole process is like all these different things I have to do, like besides the actual like treatment. It's like calling doctors and like taking my medications and following up with appointments and
yeah, dude, they make it seem like it's so straightforward too. Just give this person a call. No, you're gonna have to talk to like 13 people before you get to the right person, and they tell you the fucking wrong information.
That's what I got. So, like, I was trying to get I needed one piece of paper that, like, I needed someone to send, and I got transferred, like, 3 different departments.
Yeah.
And then they're like, yeah, we'll send it. And then a week later, I'm like, did anyone ever send it? And they're like, oh, this person was supposed to send it. They never did.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
It's just, yeah, it's like, I get people are busy. So, like, I don't ever really get too, like, upset. But it's like, some people just need to be less incompetent with their job and, like, understand that, like, everyone's going through a lot, but that's also your job. Like, I work in IT. If someone's computer was broken, I wouldn't be like, I'll get back to you in, like, 2 days.
Goes back to the perspective thing that you were once saying, and, you know, it's like having a near-death experience changes you, and everyone should have something similar to that. I agree with that, but there are other ways to get that perspective, and a good way.
It doesn't need to be.
Yeah. Like, reading books is a good one. Talking to people is probably my favorite one, which is why I have this podcast. And
sure,
I talked to this dude that's from Israel, and when he was a baby, like, his parents moved him from Russia to Israel because they were, like, being threatened for their life because they were Jews out in Russia, and it's not a good thing. So they moved to Israel, their homeland, which is a process in itself. But once they got to Israel, they had to worry about bombs, like, hitting their house. So the mom and the dad had this kid, and they were, like, cuddling up to them, trying to protect them from bombs that were literally dropping in their city, just, like, leveling these homes. And then I think about this person that's, like, freaking the fuck out because the flight got delayed for an hour. I'm like, bitch, we're flying in a fucking airplane at 500 miles an hour from Chicago to Florida in 3 hours. Like, this would take us 16 days in a horse and buggy, and, like, 6 of you wouldn't make it. There's 7 of you, 6 of you are dead.
I drive, so it's funny that you said that, because I just literally, I think yesterday, I just told someone we were driving. I had to go, like, every time I go to Park Ridge, we drive past O'Hare, and the radiation and chemo kind of makes me, like, a little loopy at times, and also makes you feel sort of stoned. But it also could be because I might be.
Because you might be stoned, yeah.
But I remember texting them, like, how mesmerizing are airplanes?
Yeah, man.
Like, do you really think about it? Like,
oh, yeah. I think about that shit all the time.
Just, like, how incredible, like, that a bunch of people could just get on this piece of metal that, like,
3 million pounds just fly in
the air.
No big deal.
No, it's no big deal.
It's fucking sorcery, dude.
It really is. And I'm like, and I sense that, like I say, that's kind of the stuff that I was talking about that I probably wouldn't say out loud because I'm no judgment. But now I'm just like, I'm just gonna say it all. I don't care.
I'm glad you say it.
They're really cool.
Take that filter off, dude.
That's off.
So, Will, what's the future look like for you, man? Like, what happens from here on out?
So I have my last day as of right now of radiation is April 24th. So I do radiation until then, and I take my chemo pill, which I have chemo pills. So I take those, and then I get 4 weeks off after that. And then I just take chemo pills after that. And they up the dosage, and I take those for like 3 to 6 months, and then depending on what things look like, maybe like another 3 to 6 months of like even higher dosage of chemo. So, I mean, yeah, probably by like the end of the year, hopefully. Hopefully I'm like cancer free, or at least my tumor has shrank, which is like the goal of everything is to kill the cancer in the tumor and also shrink it at the same time, but it'll never officially go away.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess like that's like I said, I'm prioritizing like my health and making sure that I do all this like the right way, and making sure that I'm taking my medication on time, and that I'm not skipping it, and that I'm following like not drinking alcohol and not drinking caffeine, because those all like hurt my situation.
Yeah.
They can they have higher chance of triggering my seizures. So like I'm just kind of like where whereas probably before I probably would have said like, "Fuck you, I'm not stop drinking. I'm not
Right.
not going to stop all these things." I'm like, well, maybe I should actually like listen to these doctors who have all this experience doing this and
They might know a few
just
things.
go with it. And so, yeah, so like I think getting healthy is like my priority of my future right now. And then once I do that, like I'll probably start trying to date again,
Yeah.
do all that stuff. But yeah, like right now, like this is kind of where I'm at. Just making sure that I can get myself back to like as close to 100% that I can. Hopefully, maybe in the future, come back to playing baseball. We'll see if I still have like the slurve that I had.
Let me know, man. I know some teams out there that are looking. I'd be happy to have a pitcher like you out there. So once you get healthy, hit me up. Yeah, I just appreciate your outlook on life, man. You're obviously you probably know this because of the situation you're in, but you're one of a kind, and I don't mean to be cliche or like no pun intended, but
hey, the pun can be there. I'm all about it. I have very dark humor with the whole situation.
Okay.
I think probably make even more other people feel uncomfortable. Like some of them are like if someone will come pick me up and we'll go to dinner and then they'll like drop me off and be like, well, it was good. That could be my last meal. So,
oh my god.
and like I laugh because that's how I cope. That's how I cope with this whole thing.
Dude, that cancer is shrinking as we talk right now. Like fucking comedy is so good. Laughter is so good for the soul, dude.
I've started developing like small like bits that I can do about it that I've like already kind of said out loud and I get like good reactions. So I'm like, that's pretty funny. I'm like, I'll write that down and I'll use that in like a stand-up routine someday.
Dude, that's fucking hilarious. I've been writing some shit down too, and I'm gonna go next weekend to like an open mic for my first time. So that's pretty goddamn funny you said that.
You'll have to tell me where.
Okay, I will. I'll tell you where.
Yeah, because like one of the big things that I get from a lot of people, and I have no problem with any religion or anything like that. A lot of people will give like I'll be praying for you. So when I hurt my spine, people were like, I'll be praying for you. I'm like, okay, thanks. I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
Then I find out I have a brain tumor, and then like more people are like, I'll be praying for you. I'm like, all right. Then I find out I have brain cancer. I'll be praying for you. I'm like, all right, listen, I appreciate the prayers, guys, but like, if you keep praying for me this hard, I'm gonna be dead by then.
Do you see the way things are trending when you pray for me?
Yeah. And so
fucking chill.
I get pretty good. I get pretty good laughs about that one.
That's really good.
Like, I always thought it was really funny. And then like one of my other friends, he's like, oh, your parents are both retired? I'm like, yeah. He goes, that must be the dream. I'm like, yeah, their dream was to have a 35-year-old son with brain cancer. He's like, oh man. Like I set my friends up a lot for kind of stuff like that, but it's all in good fun because I'm just like, this is just the way I cope with it. Like I make the jokes and you can't help it.
That's
like
good,
some
man.
people might be offended by it, but I don't care. It's my cancer, not yours.
Bingo. I'm glad the way you're handling, man. It's a relief. It was a pleasure to have you on here, dude. Let's wrap this up. I mean,
Yeah.
Jesus, man. Is there any last words or like anything like advice or like tips for people or just whatever you want to leave people with?
I think just keeping a positive outlook. I know at times, like if you ever have anything in life, like especially with cancer, like I think keeping a positive outlook on stuff and like making sure that like you aren't defined by the cancer, like you aren't cancer, like you're still a person, and I think just always having a positive mindset and just making sure that like I know I've heard you say it, but I think just treat others how like you would want to be treated, and I still very much believe in that. And I think you don't know what somebody's going through, so kind of always before you're gonna say that mean thing or be negative, like think about it, because like if you're putting that negative energy out there, like nobody needs it. And honestly, like the world needs more positivity. There's a lot of negative stuff going around all the time. So I think that's about it. If you don't feel right about something, go get it checked out. Not everything. Don't be a hypochondriac.
Yeah, I mean, who better to take words from than you, man, and what you're dealing with right now. So I appreciate you having that positive mindset. Appreciate you coming on here and actually opening up. You're so fucking open about it, which is
Oh yeah.
yeah, that's really good to hear.
What do you want to know?
I think you answered everything, dude. But man, I appreciate you coming on here, bro. We'll have to do it again. I won't bug you every single day. Like I said, I'll block you for the first like 24 hours, and I'll unblock you. And no, but hopefully we get to play baseball again, man.
That was fun. I do remember we played hockey together once too.
Are you serious?
We played roller hockey together.
Oh, roller hockey. Okay, dude. Yeah, that was like all around fifth grade.
Spikes.
Yeah, too much.
Wait, do you remember what age you were when you played roller hockey?
It must
At
have.
Spikes?
It must have been like seventh grade.
I honestly, I was just telling someone the other day, and I go, I don't even remember how old I was when I played roller hockey. I'm like, I only played one season. I'm pretty sure your brother was the goalie on it. No, that can't be right.
Nick, my brother was the goalie for the ice hockey team. He was the Chris Lake South goalie.
I could have swore that your brother was on our team with us. I don't know why, but like.
No, I played goalie once on our team.
I played goalie roller hockey one time. It was fun.
Get back into it, man. Next year.
My spine can't take that kind of shit.
Nonsense.
Not right now. Golfing only.
Oh, well, shit, Will. I appreciate you being here, man. Actually, before we get off, like, let people know. I know you're a musician, so how can people find your music?
Oh man, you can go check. I haven't posted anything on there, and that was part of the. We talked about me coming on here a long time ago.
Yeah.
For music.
Yep.
You can go on my Instagram for music. It's Willith, like WILLITH music. Yeah, I have some songs posted on there. I had started writing an album last year, and I was like super going into this year. I'm like, I'm gonna finish it. I'm gonna finish it and record it all. And then like all this happened. I'm like, well, this will give me more material to finish it. But yeah, I have some original songs on there. I have some covers. Like, check it out.
You're really good, man. I listened to some of your stuff. I enjoyed it, and I can't wait for you to get back at it and finish some things up. But prioritize, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, I got time. I got time to write stuff all the time. So.
All right. Will, appreciate you. Everyone at home listening, thanks. Having open minds, and we love you all. Take care. Peace.